I got plans for these chips.
My contract stipulates I must appear in every episode for at least 10 seconds.
I'll teach your grandmother to suck eggs.
Get a Nielsen box!
Uniracers for the Super Nintendo. There are essentially two types of people in this world. Those who love this game and those who have never played it. Or at least that's what appears to be the case, since none of the maybe 22 people who have ever played this game have ever spoken poorly of it. Uniracers, known as Unirally outside of North America, was developed and released in 1994 by DMA Design. They're a company that was better known for their work on Lemmings. And following the release of this gem, they later went on to make Body Harvest, and the prototype of a game that went on to create a juggernaut of a series known as Grand Theft Auto. But despite some of their successes, the company was met with financial hardships due to cancelled works and poor sales from released ones. Nintendo sure as hell didn't care for Body Harvest being a launch title. DMA Design ultimately found itself acquired by Gremlin Interactive, which was itself acquired by Infogrames once GTA 2 came out. But then Infogrames sold DMA Design over to Take-Two Interactive, which in turn bought Grand Theft Auto's intellectual property, and DMA Design was ultimately renamed Rockstar North to work on the GTA series, and Red Dead Redemption, and Max Payne 3, and Manhunt. But you're not here for all of that, you're here for Uniracers, or Unirally. At least I think you are, otherwise I don't know why you clicked on this dumpster fire. So the company pushed out 300,000 units of this game upon release, which was fine and dandy, until Pixar stepped in with a lawsuit regarding their short film Red Stream, saying, "Hey, you made this game about computer-generated unicycles, and we made this 1987 short film about a computer-generated unicycle, so we're gonna sue you for copyright infringement." Because, as we all know, Pixar invented the computer-generated unicycle, just like how they invented desk lamps. I mean, how else are you supposed to personify unicycles? There's not a lot to do with them otherwise. Should Uniracers have just been about cooking instead and we just called it Unibakers? Shit, that was awful. So the lawsuit ruled in Pixar's favor, due to the judge being a total knobhead, and only their initial 300,000 copies were released, and not another more. Nowadays you'll either have to find a copy being sold online or emulated. Obviously it's an unspoken rule on the web not to share emulation options, but you can also purchase copies of the game on Etsy or eBay, assuming you have a Super Nintendo to play it on. By the way, it's worth noting that I tried it on the SNES Classic and it didn't work well, causing bugs or issues with the graphics. Maybe emulation has improved since then, but that's still a risk that you could run into. This is a visual demonstration of the bug in question. Thanks Robin64 for the video. Credits in the description. Once you fire up the game in your Super Nintendo, you'll notice that the game doesn't really give you a story. There's no explanation for anything, it just throws you straight into a menu screen. You'll have multiple modes to choose from. One-player mode, which serves as the game's story mode, two-player mode where you can race with a friend, versus mode, which is basically the I play winner mode, as it allows the winner of the first race to keep playing until they are bested by another player. And then there's League, which allows you to set up a group of friends to compete against other friends in high-speed action. But you'll want to go to the options selection to set up a league, where you can name the league and select who is on whose team. Additionally, you can check your track records or select Define Player, which sets up the cast for verses. Define League is the option where you can set up the aforementioned leagues, or basically teams, of you and your friends to play together. And Rename Player is, well, it's exactly what it says it is on the tin. What, you don't like the name Mike for the red unicycle? Well, you can go change it to your name or something. There's nothing wrong with the name Mike. He could be a great programmer or something, you never know. So if you're playing this game alone for the first time, you'll likely go to the one-player mode, having zero explanation as to what's going on. You'll select one of the 16 unicycles of any color or name, assuming you've already named them through the options menu. And, thanks to the advent of the internet, you can download or view the instruction booklet as a PDF at any time. So if you refer to the manual, you'll notice that the game's lore is basically a myth that a unicycle god tried to impress a girl by creating a racing game after binging on an endless supply of coffee. I'm not kidding. No, it's right there. No, really, it's right fucking there. I know I was joking about the Pixar desk lamp thing, but this is really not sarcasm. The manual also points out that the 3 unicycles you race in single-player mode are ghosts. Bronson, Sylvia, and Goldie? Who the hell is Goldie? He's Goldwyn in the game. Is this a typo or something? Well, maybe it's Goldie in the international releases. There are reports of slight changes to the game's vernacular depending on whether you're playing Uniracers or Unirally. So maybe it's Goldie in Unirally. Listen, I'm in Burgerland, we don't know much about Europe. So the game's objective is beat the 3 ghosts in 8 different tours, then race off against the Anti-Uni, lauded as the ultimate racer whom no one can find but the very greatest of all. You'll start with 4 tours, each with 5 tracks. You have 2 races which are marked with right arrows, 2 circuits which are marked with a looping arrow, and 1 stunt track which is marked by a curvy arrow. The race tracks are simply events, and the circuit tracks are multi-lap races. In both, you'll race and perform stunts for speed boosts to outperform your opponents, and that's where this game truly shines, because as you start racing against Bronson in a track for the first time, you'll see a swift scrolling background and you'll move at breakneck speeds. You see, DMA Design wanted this game to prove that the Super Nintendo could compete with the Genesis, proving that Nintendo does whatever Sega already fucking did, or something like that. But then it went a step further, implementing a trick system akin to the Tony Hawk games, years before the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games even hit the scene. That's right, this game was pulling off 900s before the N64 was, but the drawback came from the backgrounds and tracks being rather minimal to compensate for these features. Still, the game itself proves that amazing graphics and complicated designs aren't needed for a game to be good, and a damn good one at that. There are only a handful of musical tracks for the game, but they're solid 80s and 90s sounding grunge-like songs, like the Hot for Teacher one. When you race on the tracks, you'll notice that there are different striped patterns along the raceway. Blue and green stripes on the track are the safe and standard. Red and blue is like a stop sign, where tricking could screw you up as the track starts changing direction in a half-pipe. Blue and yellow will either bring about a shortcut or the end of a race. Also, if the raceway ends up going to solid yellow, you'll want to jump as close as you can at the end, as doing so will shave off seconds of your time. You'll need to do this for some tracks, because those ghosts will do it themselves at higher difficulties, and they sure as hell won't fuck up as often. There will be other hazards along the way, such as corkscrews, which will stop you in your tracks if you try to trick on them, purple goo, which slows you down, and ice, which exists, I guess? Oh, and then there are boost arrows which lock you in place, forcing you in the direction that they're pointing in. Now about those tricks I mentioned earlier, you'll have twists, rolls, flips, Z-flips, or Z if you're not in the US, and mega tricks. Twists are performed with the A button whilst in midair and are pretty much the easiest to pop off. Rolls and flips alternate depending on which direction your racer's in. For example, if you hold L in midair while your unicycle's heading to the right, it'll start rolling backwards, performing a flip. But if you hold R in midair as the unicycle's heading to the right, it'll roll forwards, which counts as an ordinary roll, and vice versa. Basically, flips are rolls done in the opposite direction of the unicycle's movement. Z, or Z, flips are performed with the X button, and holding any of these buttons down extends the number of twists, rolls, flips, or Z flips, Z flips, you do. The sicker the combos you do in midair, the better the speed boost you'll receive. But if you screw up, you'll lose speed, and the opponent will leave you in their dust. I don't think the Ghost Racers won't do the same thing. I mean, hell, higher difficulties will have Goldwyn do a double twist in a single roll at best, and then he'll receive an insane speed boost just to rubber band you like it's Mario Kart 64. This becomes the most important detail regarding the stunt tracks. The stunt tracks are the only tracks in each tour that do not pit you against any of the ghosts directly. Instead, you'll need to perform sick combos to beat the high scores set by the ghosts. The first 2 difficulty modes aren't too bad, but once you get to Goldwyn or Goldie and their scores, they take it up a notch. And you'll need to learn the tabletop and head bounce if you want to even stand a chance against some of these scores. The manual doesn't even outright state these, and hides them behind what they call the mega tricks, but they're actually the simplest tricks to pull off and can be some of the best for stunt tracks. For example, to perform one of the mega tricks, a tabletop, all you have to do is just gain air by jumping or falling and pressing the X button very slightly, and then tapping it again quickly like a half tap. The head bounce is even more elusive, and will likely be your bread and butter for the stunt tracks. Just jump while stationary and hold down the X button. Your unicycle will do a head bouncing maneuver and score you an easy 32 points once you release X. And if you keep doing the same stunts over and over again, you'll receive fewer points with every repetition, so you can't just keep doing triple flips and meows for points. But if you perform 3 or 4 head bounces right at the start and do it quickly enough, you'll start tricking with an additional 50 to 60 points, making it a lot easier to win the gold. You'll receive a check mark for every track you win on, so there's no penalty for losing unless you reset the game. If you get a check mark for all 5 tracks, you'll get a medal correlating to the unicycle you went up against. Bronson gives you bronze, Sylvia gives you silver, and Goldwyn gives you gold. Yeah, no shit. The bronze and silver victory screens are the same throughout the game, but clearing a tour with gold gets you a cutscene where Goldwyn, or Goldie, becomes a Looney Tunes character for a whole 3 seconds. Wait, is that Beta Yoshi or something? What the fuck? If you score a bronze medal or better in the first 4 tours, Crawler, Shuffler, Walker, and Hopper, you'll unlock the next 2 tours, Jumper and Bounder. And if you score silver in all 6 of these, you'll unlock Runner and Sprinter, amping the difficulty with each new tour. But if you make it through all 8 tours and get a gold in each of the tours, you'll unlock the final challenge, Hunter. Thankfully, the Hunter tour is only 5 tracks and you'll start with a silver medal. So you're probably thinking, well, this doesn't seem so bad, right? I just have to beat Goldwyn a few more times. No. No, you don't. Your opponent here isn't those 3 ghost unicycles from before. Instead, your opponent is the fabled Anti-Uni, mentioned in the game's manual, believed to be a mythical racer meant to challenge the best of the best. And it turns out, that best is you. So then you race this legend and realize something very important. This cherry red bastard cheats. And no, I'm not talking about his AI being harder to beat legitimately. I mean that he actually cheats. Every time he appears on the screen with you, you run the risk of him tampering with your gameplay. This little red bitch will screw up the interface, he'll cause nearly seizure-inducing graphical issues, he'll slow you down to what the game mocks as hedgehog speed, he'll cause the track to go invisible, and he'll even invert your controls for a few seconds. Yeah, that's right, the fabled Anti-Uni, considered to be the best in the universe, is a goddamn cheater. He's that kid on the playground who changes the rules when he's losing a game, and then you just want to see bad things happen to him. No, you don't have some sort of force field, Kyle. You're just mad that I'm winning the goddamn game, you little bitch. But the only saving throw is the stunt track, Neon. It's pretty forgiving compared to all the other tracks, but as you'd expect by the name, it's all neon. It's actually pretty cool and not too difficult, especially considering the others in the Hunter Tour. Again, there's no penalty for losing, so you're free to keep trying even if you lose the track. And you'll probably lose to him again and again and again. The tracks themselves are rather compact, giving you very little room to make tricks on, so you can't just sprint ahead of the Anti-Uni to gain an advantage. You have no choice but to rely on 3 things to win this tour: skill, patience, and pure goddamn RNG. Because let's face it, some of those debilitations can, and will, fuck you up at the last second. Fuck! But if skill, patience, and pure RNG are on your side and you claim to win in all 5 tracks, you'll cement yourself as the best of the best. So soak in those newspaper highlights, flaunt your success, and that rose-colored dick's downfall, and just enjoy the fact that you're a real champion at Uniracers. Or Unirally. I'm done with that joke. And with all 9 gold medals across all 9 tours, you can bask in your greatness as much as you'd like, relishing in your accomplishments. In all honesty, the game itself really is a lot of fun, despite having a rather simplistic design, and I'd wholly recommend finding a copy or sailing the seas to land yourself a play of it. This game defines the 90s with its lingo, great music, and fun simplicity. So grab your friends and give it a spin. Or a flip, or a roll, or a head bounce. Where in the fuck was I going with this, goddamn? Anyway, if you don't have friends with you, that's fine. Just go face off against the Anti-Uni and show them up, styling on them the whole time. You know, in fact, maybe I should play through the story mode again myself. After all, I still have 15 other unicycles to choose from.